Hello guys, and welcome to a follow-up video to the automated Certus Quartz crystal build. And if you haven't watched that video already, it might be a good idea to do that. Video in the description, of course, because I will not go through it in detail. But if you're good with AE2, then perhaps you can follow along anyway. But there are some minor differences that I wanted to go through, and also some questions I got on this build after the last video. And then in the end, I will also show how it looks, because this is based on the flawed block, the next highest tier. I will also show how it looks using the flawless one that will never decay. So let's go over here to start with and cover the auto crafting and the upgrade, or what to call it, from base Certus Quartz block into the flawed one that we're using. The process is quite simple. You throw one of these with as many charged crystals as you want. If you throw one, you will get the damaged, and then two, you will get shipped, and three, you will get flawed. They might happen step or one at a time, but to our eyes, it looks instant. So the pattern that we have is 3 charged crystals with one base block, this one, that will give us the flawed, the highest tier we can build. And this build, well, I covered it before, but pattern provider with the pattern, of course, and we have an interface here to receive the items, no particular config. We have this formation plane into water. You can probably have only one block of water. I think I'm used to having to use 2, and I think they move in a weird way sometimes when there's only one, but perhaps it works just as well. This formation plane, though, is configured with all the blocks that goes in there, and make sure then to set the item as to be dropped. Instead of place as a block, that would be dropped as item, not blocks. And that option will not be available unless you filter with the items. We can actually remove the damaged and shipped. We'll not use them in the pattern, and we won't have them in the system. And up here we have annihilation plane, just a regular one, and then the storage bus here to place it back into the pattern provider. The other recipe I have here is Fluix, the standard recipe, nether and redstone and 1 charge, so I can show how it looks. We can combine it. We have get it charged from here. They are thrown into here, and then we get the Fluix, and they will slowly surface and go into the plane. And it will look exactly the same with the flawed Certus block. So I hope that gives some understanding on why it looks like this. Anyway, let's continue over here, because one difference was that I changed from, instead of breaking when we have decayed one step, previously I broke the shipped and I stored the damaged. Remember that when you break it, even with a silk touch enchanted annihilation plane, you will decay it 1 step. That's why we can't break the flawless one into and keep it flawless. We will get flawed when breaking with silk. But now I have changed, so I will actually break the damaged, and that means I need to store Certus Quartz. And I'm doing that here in the pink network. You can see it here, Certus Quartz. Previously I had damaged instead, and then I only had to do 2 steps of upgrades. Now I'm breaking the lowest step, or the tier, and then upgrade it 3 steps. Not a big difference. You don't really see a big difference, but I think it's a good idea to do it this way instead, because the bud can grow a few more steps, maybe. Not guaranteed, it's still random, but you get a few more steps of decay until you break it, so perhaps I think it's a good idea to do it this way instead. I investigated a way to do it all the way down to this base block, but it's a lot of work and will require some additional smart things. I had things like sticky pistons and slime to check, and it was just a mess. So I think this is good enough until you can get a flawless block. So that's the upgrade, and of course we can quickly demonstrate. The thing with this is that I can't order a certain amount of crystals. This emitter is set to 500, so if we are below 500, it will run. And if we are above, if I place those 16 back into the network, it will just stop. And nothing more will happen. So if we now need 1,000, I can't really order 1,000. I need to make sure that we have that amount. Let's set a high enough number and I think you're fine. At least we had time to see that we broke the block, and there's the crafting. You can see all the three charged crystals and then the block, and then they formed, and it was an instant moment for us going from the base block up to flawed. Otherwise, this works exactly as before. It will just say self-run and upgrade, and this will be stored with 5. And you can see I also put some flux crystals in here. So actually, if I remove half of them, then you can see that we instantly ordered 28 new ones, and we're crafting a lot of charged, because this one will keep filling them up as we get them. So if you have this system up and running and you have a spare interface and we have a crafting card, I think it's a good idea to do this. Then you will always have 64 in stock, as long as you have the other resources, of course. Okay, so now let's talk about the yellow network, because I didn't change any other things in here. No, I didn't. So the yellow one is not for Certus Quartz per se, but it's for Certus Quartz dust. And I have 2 level emitters here. The system is very similar to this one. And yeah, you can do this in a few different ways, but the basic idea will be the same. Here we're using this emitter. If we're below 500, this will be on, and that means this will be on, and then this network will be on, and then this network will be on. So you can do it in a few ways. The yellow one is similar, but I'm using 2 of them. So I have it set to 100 dust, and this one exactly the same, of course. So if we have less than 100 dust in the system, now everything is done. That's great, and we have 100 and 500. So we're satisfied for now. If we were less than 100, then this will turn on and this will turn on. And that means that the yellow network will be connected to the white, and we will simply break whatever bud is here. If it's a fully grown bud, we will get Certus Quartz, this one. But if it's any of the other 3 tiers, we will get the dust instead. And then it will be broken, and then we're waiting for the next to grow, and then it will be instantly broken. And the thing is that I don't want this plane to be turned on when we want fully grown buds, right? And that's why I placed this second toggle bus, to make sure that we're only connecting we're turning this pink one on, to replace the block when the yellow is on. But we don't want the yellow to be on when the pink one is on. So this combination of a toggle bus and a quartz fiber working together with this part works like a diode pretty much. So yellow can power pink, but pink cannot power yellow, because this one is controlling that. And they can both run at the same time. If I remove half a stack of those and half a stack of those, both will be turned on. This is on, so we're getting power to this. The pink one is turned on because we're getting power from here, right? But this one is also turned on, and we're getting power to the pink from this direction as well. And now we're simply breaking every time it grows, one at a time. So no fortune here. We'll get one dust per break. And then we have a new block coming. So that part that's handled by the pink network. Same as before. So that's why I want the pink network to be still turned on. And then it will just run. So let's see, how many do we have? Perhaps we need, oops. Let's throw some in here so we're done. We can see this one is turned off right now. But this one is still on because we still need the Certus Quartz, right? Still need these ones. But the yellow is turned off, and this is offline because I don't want it to be online when we need Certus Quartz. So quite a simple addition. I'm doing this in the same space, but later in the video I'll show how it looks in a different way. The good thing with level emitters is that they do not require any channel, so this is not a problem if you're low on channels. This part is basically for free, except for the resources, of course, and we could combine them in the same space. These are quite easy to come by, so probably you will have a few you can do it in many, many ways. Okay, so I think that is everything from this world automatically, same as before, but I updated the recipe for the float. This one is added as a bonus. We're breaking one tier lower than before, and then additional dust, and then crafting. Let's just mention this part that previously, it's annoying, previously I had a recipe to craft dust, and that's made, I think, yeah, I still have it, right? So we can craft one dust like this by throwing a crystal in here in this inscriber. So it's just a simple pattern provider with one recipe or pattern, and then import bus to get it back. So I had this before, but then I added this yellow network. It's optional to have this if you want to. And remember that this pattern provider to make charged crystals. It will also be used using one Certus Quartz crystal, same as this one. That's why I need to have them in different pattern providers, otherwise I would probably not know if I would get charged crystal or dust. So if it would end up in this or an inscriber next to it, I don't think we would ever be sure what to get, so then you need to split them. But in my build now, setting a high enough number on this, perhaps you never need to craft them manually. Okay, let's jump over to the next world and see the flawless as a finish. Or as a finale, perhaps. Here we have similar idea. It looks very different. The best part is that it's symmetric, which makes it logical and quite easy to build. So this is my base for lots of different stuff. And perhaps you'll see it in a later video. But what we have here is the very same thing, but with a flawless block. So this one we will never need to replace. We'll just grow, and that means we can use these level emitters. So for crystals, 200 in stock, and here as well, 200 in stock. Using the same idea to power the green, to power the green from the main network, and then using the green to power the orange, which is the accelerators. But if we're not turned on the other side, the blue will not be turned on when the green is on, and vice versa. So let me demonstrate this. I think it's easier to understand. We're making dust on this side. Here, 100 dust is my limit. So if we remove some dust from here, you can see this is turned on and this is turned on. They're in the same network. So we're getting power to this, and then we're connecting that one to the orange. But on this side, this is offline because this toggle bus is not active. Up here we have power, but not down here. And then if I remove a few of the crystals, we can see both are turned on, both blue and green, and they will actually work in parallel. So we can make Certus Quartz over here and dust at the same time over here. And because it's a flawless block, it will never decay, so we don't need to handle that part, which makes this build very compact. And we don't need to share the space over here. And when one is done, then that side will turn off, but the orange will be turned on as long as any side is on. So same basic idea, kind of is a thinking with diodes. Yep, very convenient, very compact. Otherwise, everything looks the same as in the other video, at least in this room. All right, I think that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any additional questions, you know where to leave them, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. So take care and bye-bye.